Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to everyone. My name is Huang Wei Ling. I'm a medical doctor from Brazil. I'm very happy to be here today to share two studies with you. And I also want to congratulate all the presenters and to thank the organizing committee to invite me to this conference. Today, my first presentation is entitled How to Treat the Rheumatoid Arthritis Using Foods as the Main Tools. According to Western medicine, rheumatoid arthritis is the chronic autoimmune inflammatory disease which affects approximately 1% of the world's adult population. It's characterized by the inflammation of synovial tissue from multiple articulations, leading to tissue destruction, pain deformities, and reducing quality of life. Rheumatoid arthritis etiology is complex and largely unknown, although studies support the influence of genetic and environmental factors on its pathogenesis. For this presentation today, I will show you a different view of rheumatoid arthritis using the teachings of Hippocrates, who said, "Foolish the doctor who despises the knowledge acquired by the ages." So I will use traditional Chinese medicine reasoning to explain how to treat the patients with rheumatoid arthritis and using foods as the main tools. To explain how I treat all my patients, I would like to show you the history of one specific patient that I treated in 2006 and became the cornerstone of all my treatments. He was a 70-year-old male patient who started for me because of his pain in the legs that didn't improve with the use of any anti-inflammatory medications during 6 months. And he searched for the treatment using acupuncture, and that's why he went to my clinic. And according to TCM, he was diagnosed with kidney iron deficiency. He started treatment with Chinese dietary counseling, being recommended to avoid dairy products, raw food, cold drinks, and sweets, because all these food can imbalance the spleen and pancreas meridian in Chinese medicine. And another group of foods that was recommended with avoiding chocolate, honey, coconut, alcoholic beverages, and melted cheese, because all these foods could imbalance the liver and gallbladder meridian, leading to heat retention. All these recommendations are according to the energy of each food and not according to the components of each food that Western medicine usually oriented the patient. And the third group of foods that was oriented to avoid was coffee, soda, tea, because all these drinks could induce the reduction of energy in the kidney energy meridian that's responsible for the production of yin and yang in the body. And also he did auricular acupuncture with apex blood dilating and systemic acupuncture to rebalance the yin and yang blood energy and to achieve health. And with this treatment done, the pain in the legs diminished, and the patient was submitted to an interview after 30 days of this treatment. In this interview, he revealed to me that he also had an improvement of his glaucoma condition, that he didn't tell me that he had glaucoma, but for the first time of his life, his intraocular pressure went from 40 to 17 mmHg. And to show how is the reasoning using all my treatment, I am showing this tree metaphor, that I am showing this tree has a trunk with several branches. Each branch represents one medical specialty in Western medicine, and each leaf that coming out of each branch represents the disease and symptoms treated by each specialty. And rheumatoid arthritis are in the leaf level in the rheumatology specialty or general practice. But what I'm showing you today is that the traditional Chinese medicine sees all the symptom and disease in the leaf level, but the cause of these symptoms are in the root of this tree, not in the leaf. And different from Western medicine, TCM will treat the roots, that I will show you what are in the roots, and also consider the influence of the external pathogenic factor that Western medicine does not address in their diagnosis and treatment. This external pathogenic factor could be cold, wind, heat, humidity, and dryness. And now I will show you the theory in the roots that are yin and yang theory and the 5-element theory in the root of this tree. And this theory was presented in conference at the Harvard Medical School in 2015 in a study entitled Acupuncture Viewed Holistically Can Treat All the Patient's Disease and Symptoms at the Same Time, and even the doctor does not know that the patient has such a symptom. And here the yin and yang theory, yin and yang. They need to be in harmony, and that is all the treatment that we are doing in our patient. We need to achieve this harmony between yin and yang. And here are the yin and yang balance state that we need to achieve this balance state, yin and yang in the same height. And yin deficiency is characterized with all autoimmune disease in traditional Chinese medicine is characterized by yin deficiency. Yin is less than yang. All autoimmune hepatitis or autoimmune hemolytic anemia that I presented yesterday in the hematology webinar, and all autoimmune disease characterized by these energy deficiencies. And yang deficiency is characterized by yang less than yin. In this situation, it's very common. A woman who has losses in pregnancy, abortion, such as, and it's very common in patients with urinary incontinence, in patients with cancer, etc. And here I'm showing you, according to TCM, all autoimmune disease characterized by yin deficiency condition, and all these drinks could reduce the yin energy. And but this is not static. These differences in energy is, I will show you the flux of the energy, and it's not static. One energy can transform to another. Although TCM does not refer to rheumatoid arthritis by the name, it address called by B syndrome. What's B syndrome? B means obstruction, and it is caused by the invasion of the external pathogenic factor. That factor that I told you that's surrounding the tree, that is cold, wind, heat, dryness, and humidity. And that is why many patients feel that their pain could worse when the climate changes and when they live in the cold countries. They could have more propensity to have more pain because this factor could aggravate their symptoms and creating the blockage in the channels, the energy meridians. And this blockage prevents Qi. Qi is the vital energy, the energy and blood to traveling through the channels smoothly and performing their functions of warming and nourishing the joints and extremities, thus causing serious symptoms. And traditional Chinese medicine teaches that exterior pathogenic factors can attack the body when the qi and blood of the patient are deficient and cannot protect the body very well. That is why in these patients, we need to tone the qi and blood to fortify their energy. And fortifying their energy, we can prevent this invasion this attack of these external pathogenic factors inside the body, and therefore they will not have so many pain. And this attack, coupled with the Qi and blood deficiency, can result in this B syndrome that is characterized in rheumatoid arthritis in Western medicine. Thus, the etiology of B syndrome involves some combinations of the external pathogenic factors, wind, cold, heat, dampness, that invade the body as a result of the internal deficiency of Qi and blood. And I will show you a case report of a patient that I treat myself in my clinic in Brazil. He's a 26-year-old male patient that I treated in 2018. He had diagnosis of rheumatoid arthritis since 2013, and he was using immunosuppressive medication and corticosteroids to control the pains in all joints without any improvement of his pain. And according to TCM, his diagnosis was he was in deficiency, yang deficiency, Qi, and blood deficiency. How I do the diagnosis of this deficiency? In deficiency is when he feels hot in parts of the body, and yang deficiency is when usually the feet is very cold, and usually the patient needs to put socks to sleep during the night, or usually cover the feet to sleep, because in deficiency patients doesn't want to cover their feet when they are sleeping. And blood deficiency is when they don't go to the bathroom or to have daily bowel movement every day. This is a sign and symptoms of deficiency of blood in TCM. And Qi deficiency is when the patient is sweating during the day without doing any exercise. It's very common in obese patients that doing any exercise, they are sweating. And when the patient has this deficiency, it's very common to have the formation of internal heat. This internal heat can cause the formation of many other diseases, such as emotional or physical disease, such as anxiety, panic syndrome, schizophrenia, and can cause infection, diabetes, hypertension, and even cancer, because cancer comes from energy deficiency and formation of heat retention according to TCM. And he received the dietary counseling, Chinese dietary counseling. It's about the energy of each food causing imbalance of the energy of the patient. And that's why it was recommended to avoid all dairy products, raw food, cold water, and sweets, because all these food can balance the spleen and pancreas meridian. That's important to absorb the nutrients and production of blood. And milk is the main source of pain. In all kinds of pain, you need to orientate the patient to avoid the dairy products, especially milk, and all the foods that contain cow's milk, because the cow's milk can induce the pain in all the articulation in the body and can induce the inflammatory process. And that is why this step is the most important step in the treatment of patients in all kinds of pain, but in this case, rheumatoid arthritis patients. And also, I orientate the patients to take out the chocolate, honey, coconut, alcoholic beverages, and even eggs, because these kinds of foods can induce the energy imbalances in the liver and gallbladder meridian, and can lead to the more inflammatory process, because can increase the internal heat, because these foods has hot energy, and they can induce the formation of hyperemia and the signs and symptoms of inflammation in the articulations also. And here's to show you that coffee, soda, and matcha tea can induce the reduction in the kidney energy meridian, leading to less production of yin and yang that is responsible for the kidney. And here's to show you that the apex bloodletting is a procedure to take out the inflammation and to take out the heat process. And that is why this is a very important step to reduce the inflammation in the articulation. And also I use these points to balance the yin and yang blood that is very important to achieve health again. Here is the kidney point, liver point, spleen point, lung and heart point. All these points have energy because each point is important to produce internal energy. For example, the kidney is important to produce yin and yang. The liver is important to distribute the internal energy with the lung point. And the spleen is important to produce the absorb the nutrients and production of blood. And here I am showing you that I advise him to, when he do some exercise, after the exercise, he need to change his clothes because these clothes could be wet. And when he don't change his clothes and maintain the wet clothes, he could cause the entrance of these external pathogenic factors because the pores are open in this situation. And when he is submitted to fan or air conditioning with the wet clothes, it can induce the entrance of these external pathogenic factors, leading to worsening of the rheumatoid arthritis symptoms, that the pain in the articulation. That is why the patient should be advised to put the clothes adequately to prevent the entrance of this external pathogenic factor, and also to don't walk barefoot on the floor, to use shoes, even inside the house, to prevent the invasion of this external pathogenic factor, and also to reduce the exposition to open the fridge, because this could induce the entrance of this cold and wind inside the body. And also this patient received the chakras energy center measurement, and it revealed that all his chakra were in the lowest level of energy. What does this mean? Each chakra corresponds to each one massive organ in traditional Chinese medicine. This theory is described in some literature, and demonstrating that the chakra corresponds to one massive organ, one element in the 5-element theory, and one element, it corresponds to one massive organ. And when I'm measuring the chakras energy, I am measuring the energy of each internal massive organ that has the function of producing the internal energy. And as you can see here, any organ do not have any energy, so they are not producing the yin and yang qi blood that is protecting the patient against this invasion of this internal external pathogenic factor. And that's why we need to fortify this organ to them to have condition to produce the internal energy and to protect this patient against the invasion of this external pathogenic factor that is cold and wind and other invasions. And here are some medications, homeopathy medication that they usually use to treat, to replenish these internal organs. And for example, the liver uses phosphorus to treat the kidney. I use natrium muriático. To treat the heart, I use sulfur. To treat the lung, silica. To treat spleen, calcária carbônica. These, there needs to be a sequence following the generation cycle of these elements. I will show you, I think there is a graph that's showing this formation of the each element. And this theory was created by me, constitutional homeopathy of the 5 elements based on traditional Chinese medicine, because in China, when they have the energy disturbances in each organ, they usually use Chinese herbs to tone the kidney or liver or heart. Each organ has their own Chinese herbs, but in Brazil, I had some difficulties to find these medications, and that's why I began to study homeopathy in 2015. And after beginning this course, I created this theory linking homeopathy with traditional Chinese medicine reasoning to treat nowadays my patient only using homeopathy, but using TCM reasoning. And using this medication, all the physicians in the world they are able to use this medication without need to study Chinese medicine, and to be able to prescribe this medication that's more easily to prescribe to their patient. And also here are some crystals that I usually use to replenish this energy too. And I will show you the after why I need to use high diluted medication instead of high concentrated medication. And the results of this patient is that he improved from his symptoms after this treatment in the first 30 days of the treatment. And after less than a month, he was able to withdraw the use of corticosteroids and immunosuppressive medications. And in TCM, wind is the most important pathogenic factor, as it always leads to other pathogens to attack the body, such as cold. And this attack can occur if the weather changes suddenly, if people live in a cold country or a rainy place, or wear few clothes, when people jog in extremely cold and damp weather, or if people sweat profusely, thereby causing the pores to open. Any of these factors can facilitate the invasion of this external wind, cold, dampness, and heat, and that is why it was oriented to avoid this kind of invasion, preventing wearing adaptally clothes to prevent this invasion. And according to TCM, in the acute phase of the disease, the treatment aims to dispel this pathogenic heat and cold, removing obstruction of the channels, and dispels pathogenic wind and dampness. And in the chronic phase, the treatment needs to nourish the liver and kidney in all that organs that are in the lowest level of the energy that I showed you. You need to tone these organs to fortify the internal energy of this patient, preventing this invasion of these external factors. And also, I usually orientate them to avoid the ingestion of raw food, including fruits, because all these raw foods have cold energy, and we can induce the entrance of the external pathogenic factor using food. And raw food usually have cold energy, and if you don't orientate adequately the patients to cook or to bake these fruits and vegetables, they can worsen their symptoms only using this kind of food that is cold energy. And avoid to use the microwave of this system to make cooks, because they could induce energy disturbance here, leading to reduce energy in the foods too. And here's the balance state between yin and yang blood that we need to achieve in all the treatments. In this case, yin and yang are produced in the kidney, that's second chakra. Qi is produced by the first chakra, and the fourth is the liver and the lung. And blood is produced by the fifth chakra and controlled by the heart, the third chakra. That is why it's important to you to tone all that energy to achieve this health energy again of our patients in all the treatments. Here are some, the dairy products is very important to take, not the milk itself, but all the foods that contain dairy products. You need to orientate the patient to take out from the diet, and you orientate the patient to do the cake and other foods without doing another receipt, without using dairy. And here I'm showing you that the fifth chakra that's responsible for the absorption of nutrient is not working. And that's why when you don't orientate to change these diets and to tone this spleen, pancreas, meridian that is not working properly, all the foods that the patient is ingesting or vitamin or anything is not absorbing adequately. And that's why it's very important to change their dietary aspect to tone this energy. And how can we tone? You need to orientate the patient to heat the water and to drink like warm water. And this water is not only for these rheumatoid arthritis symptoms. In this case, I did a research in my clinic. I'm showing that more than 90% of our patients don't have energy in the chakras energy. I think including us physicians are in the lowest level of energy nowadays because of the influence of these electromagnetic waves of the 5G technology, of the cell phones and Wi-Fi's, and this is leading to these energy deficiencies in all the chakras, and that is why it's very important to us to change our diet and the patients too. And also, here's to tell you the progression from health to disease are divided in 5 phases from 1 to 5. The Western medicine do the diagnosis only in the phase 4 and 5 when there is alteration in the exams. But there are the first 3 phases, the patient has symptoms, but the exams are still normal. And the exam normal does not mean that the patient do not have anything. They have energy alterations in their body, but it's not altering the laboratory exams. And that's why here is to show you the indeficiency of all autoimmune disease is because of the kidney energy deficiency. We need to treat all these deficiency to fortify the patient, and this deficiency is the cause of all the infection nowadays of COVID-19, because our immune system of this, the energy means our immune system, and the immune system of our population in the whole world, I think it's in this lowest level, and that's why in all age groups, since children, adolescents, young adults, and the oldest people, all have these chakras energy deficiencies leading to less immune system. And here's to show you that to improve the kidney energy, you need to orientate the patient to sleep adequately. The sleeping time is better to sleep at 9 p.m. because during the night is the process of replenish the kidney energy, and the kidney energy is considered the Zen Ki. Zen Ki is the energy that protects the body against the invasion of the external pathogenic factor. And also, this kidney energy comes from the parents of the patient. That depends on the kidney energy from the mother and from the father to have the kidney energy, and also the diet aspect that the patient has during their life. And also here is one publication that I published. Can autoimmune hepatitis be treated without the use of corticosteroids or immunosuppressive drugs? The answer is yes. Only rebalancing the internal energies, improving the yin energy, you orientate the patients to eat adequately, eat food. And I'm showing you that the patient negativate all the autoimmune exams only doing this kind of treatment. Here's to show you that patients that has joint pain in the joints, all kinds of pain, the main food that you need to take out is the dairy products. Dairy products is the main source of maintaining the inflammatory process in all articulations, and you need to take out all these kinds of foods. And here's to show you again the metaphor of the tree that I want to repeat again. Here's to show you why I needed to treat with high diluted medications instead of high concentrated medication. This graph is Arne Schultz Lloyd, was created in 1888 by two Chilean German research, and they are showing the use of high concentrated medication in this case could reduce even more the vital energy of this patient. In this case, the patient was using corticosteroids and immunosuppressive medication. And that's why he was not improving with this kind of treatment, because these medications were reducing the vital energy and leading to worsening the invasion of this external pathogenic factor. He was becoming weaker. And that is why the use of high diluted medication can improve the organic process and reducing the formation of internal heat that is leading to the inflammatory manifestation. And that is why I'm using homeopathy here. And that is why the patient improves all his symptoms using this kind of medications. Here's to show you that the sequence to give the medication needs to be according to this generation cycle. For example, if you begin to treat the lung with silicea, after you need to treat the kidney. The lung is the fourth chakra, kidney is the second chakra, liver is the first chakra. And the heart is the third chakra, and the spleen the fifth chakra. And the sequence to give the medication needs to be according to this cycle. And also to tone the lung, you need to orientate the patient to eat more flower foods like this kind of broccoli and the cauliflower. And here's to show you that to tone the liver, you need to avoid all these kind of food that can induce harming the liver energy. And also to don't use wet clothes after the exercise. And just by doing this procedure, avoiding milk or raw food, cold things, the invasion of the external pathogenic factor, with less than a month of the treatment, it was possible to remove all the medication he was using. And the most important thing was to take out all the milk. And here's to show you that there's some books written by Robert Cohen that's saying that milk is evil. It can cause osteoporosis, can cause heart attack, can cause formation of cancer, mainly breast cancer. Here's the publication in Portuguese. I think there is this book in English too. And here's to show you the theory that they create to tone the energy. And the patient lived in São Paulo, far from me, 500 kilometers, and he interrupted his treatment. But his sister is also my patient and told me that he is very well nowadays, but when the climate changes to a cold weather, he can feel some pain in his body too. I think here's to show you one publication I wrote, shoulder and the elbow tendinitis as initial manifestation of autoimmune hepatitis. Only to show you that normally we treat using anti-inflammatory medication, but in TCM, tendinitis is a manifestation of gallbladder energy disturbances. That is, gallbladder is an organ that is accoupled to the, it's coupled to the liver, and that's why liver energy alterations can induce the gallbladder imbalance, leading to this kind of manifestation. And that is why, and if this patient is submitted to the use of only anti-inflammatory medication, will worsen even more, because all medication is metabolized in the liver and can induce more energy alterations. And here's to show you that to treat this rheumatoid arthritis, it's better to have the two medicines in mind to treat the leaf level and the root level of this tree. The conclusion of this study is that the rheumatoid arthritis patient should be advised avoid consumption of all dairy products and all the foods that I orientate to you. And all the patient's symptoms were normally attributed to disease, but through this case reported, I'm demonstrating the necessity of take out all dairy products from the patient's diet to improve all the symptoms related to pain in this kind of disease. Thank you for listening. Here's the Hippocrates quote. Make just a food. I'm not looking. But according to Hippocrates, using food could be the most powerful cure. And according to Hippocrates, we need not to treat the disease, but the patient. It's very important to treat the patient, because if you treat the patient energy disturbances, you will treat all disease at the same time, as I showed you in the case that became the cornerstone of all my treatments. Thank you for your attention. If you have any question, I will be very happy to answer. Thank you.